As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows over the winding road, four friends, Tom, Lisa, Jake, and Sarah, drove into the heart of Whispering Pines National Forest. The forest, infamous for its haunted reputation, loomed ahead, its towering pine trees swaying gently in the evening breeze, their whispers adding an eerie undertone to the excitement buzzing within the car. The dense canopy above seemed to close in, blocking out the remaining light and enveloping the friends in a twilight gloom. The road narrowed as they approached their destination, a secluded clearing that Tom had read about online. They hoped for an adventure, but a sense of unease gnawed at the back of their minds, amplified by the forest's dark legends. The secluded clearing they sought lay deep within the forest, far from any signs of civilization. As they parked their car and stepped out, the dense pine trees surrounded them like silent sentinels, their gnarled branches reaching out as if to snatch away any who dared to intrude. The air grew colder, and the wind rustled through the needles, creating a ghostly symphony that set their nerves on edge. The clearing itself was bathed in a silvery light from the rising moon, casting elongated shadows that seemed to twist and writhe with a life of their own. Despite their initial excitement, the friends couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched, an unsettling presence lurking just beyond the edge of the light. Excitement mingled with trepidation as they began to set up camp, each creak of a tree and rustle of leaves magnified in the stillness of the night. Sarah couldn't help but recall the stories she had heard about Whispering Pines, the tales of lost souls wandering the woods, their whispers carried on the wind, and the chilling accounts of campers who had vanished without a trace. As darkness fully descended, the forest around them seemed to come alive with shadows. The pines, tall and ancient, seemed to whisper secrets of the past, their voices low and mournful. Jake tried to lighten the mood with jokes, but his laughter sounded hollow against the backdrop of the forest's unnerving sounds. The friends huddled closer to the fire, its flickering light the only barrier between them and the encroaching darkness, each wondering if the stories were just that, stories, or if there was something truly sinister lurking in the Whispering Pines. As dusk settled into night, Tom, Lisa, Jake, and Sarah pitched their tents in the secluded clearing, the oppressive silence of the forest broken only by the occasional crack of a twig underfoot. The friends worked quickly, setting up their temporary home under the watchful gaze of the ancient pines. Once the tents were up and the fire started, its warm glow cast flickering shadows across the surrounding trees, creating an ephemeral sanctuary of light amidst the encroaching darkness. They gathered around the fire, its crackling flames a comforting presence in the eerie forest. With the night deepening, they decided to share ghost stories, each tale more chilling than the last, their laughter fading into nervous silence as the forest seemed to close in around them. The haunted reputation of Whispering Pines weighed heavily on their minds, and despite their attempts to shrug it off, an undercurrent of unease lingered. As the fire died down, the friends reluctantly retired to their tents, hoping for a restful night despite the unsettling atmosphere. The forest, however, had other plans. As the hours dragged on, the nocturnal symphony of Whispering Pines began in earnest. Unexplained rustling in the underbrush, the hoot of an owl, and distant, unidentifiable animal calls pierced the stillness, keeping the friends on edge. Every sound seemed amplified in the darkness, each rustle and snap of a twig fueling their anxiety. Sarah, unable to sleep, lay staring at the tent ceiling, trying to convince herself that the noises were nothing more than animals going about their nightly routines. Suddenly, a distant wail cut through the night air, a sound so haunting it sent chills down Sarah's spine. She sat up, heart pounding, straining to hear more, but the wail had already faded into the cacophony of the forest. She told herself it was just an animal, perhaps a fox or an owl, but the fear gnawed at her. The stories they had shared around the campfire echoed in her mind, tales of lost souls and ghostly apparitions. As she lay back down, she couldn't shake the feeling that something was out there, lurking just beyond the light, watching and waiting. The forest seemed to whisper her name, the pines swaying ominously, their branches like skeletal fingers in the moonlight. Sleep came fitfully to Sarah, haunted by the forest's eerie symphony and the unsettling feeling that they were not alone. As dawn broke, casting a soft light over whispering pines, the friends emerged from their tents, eager to shake off the unease of the previous night. They decided to explore the forest, hoping to discover its hidden beauty and perhaps dispel some of the lingering fear. Hiking through dense foliage, they marveled at the towering pines and the rich, earthy scent of the forest floor. After a few hours, they stumbled upon a hidden stream, its clear, cold water providing a refreshing respite from the morning's trek. The forest, bathed in sunlight, seemed less menacing, its natural beauty captivating and serene. However, their sense of peace was shattered when they found an old weathered sign nailed to a tree. "Danger! Keep out!" with a crudely drawn skull. The sight of the sign sent a shiver through the group. They exchanged uneasy glances, the memory of the previous night's eerie sounds fresh in their minds. Despite their trepidation, curiosity got the better of them, and they decided to investigate the area further the next day. The forest, once again, seemed to close in around them, the sense of foreboding growing stronger with each passing moment. As evening descended, the friends gathered around the campfire once more, but the mood was noticeably subdued. The forest, now cloaked in shadows, seemed to teem with unseen watchers. Strange noises emanated from the darkness beyond the firelight, rustling leaves, snapping twigs, and the occasional distant howl, heightening their anxiety. The once comforting firelight now cast long, menacing shadows that danced at the edge of their vision. In this unsettling atmosphere, their conversations turned darker, the ghost stories they shared influenced by the eerie environment. Each tale seemed to echo the growing sense of dread that hung over them, feeding their collective fear. In the dead of night, a piercing scream shattered the stillness, jolting everyone awake. It was unmistakably human and filled with terror. Heart-pounding, Tom and Jake grabbed a flashlight and decided to investigate, their faces pale with fear, but determined to uncover the source of the scream. As they ventured into the oppressive darkness, the beam of their flashlight cut through the night, revealing twisted branches and eerie shadows. The forest seemed to close in around them, every rustle and snap magnified in the silence. The others stayed behind, huddled close to the dying fire, their eyes wide with fear, straining to hear any sound that might signal the return of their friends. The scream echoed in their minds, a chilling reminder of the unseen dangers lurking in whispering pines. As Tom and Jake pushed further into the darkness, the beam of their flashlight flickered ominously before dying completely, plunging them into a suffocating blackness. Panic set in as they stood still, trying to adjust their eyes to the dark. Suddenly, the silence was broken by unintelligible, menacing whispers that seemed to come from all around them. The whispers grew louder and more insistent, filling the air with a malevolent presence. Tom and Jake's hearts raced as the oppressive darkness and the sinister whispers made the forest feel as though it were alive, conspiring against them. They struggled to keep their bearings, every direction looking the same in the dense, shadowy woods. The forest seemed to shift around them, disorienting and trapping them in a nightmarish maze. Driven by fear, Tom and Jake finally managed to stumble their way back to the camp, their faces pale and eyes wide with terror. Their sudden return, marked by panicked breathing and hurried explanations, spread fear among the group. Realizing the danger they were in, The friends decided to leave immediately, their earlier bravado replaced by sheer desperation. They hastily packed their belongings, the eerie whispers now seeming to close in on them from the darkness. The once cozy clearing became a scene of frantic activity as they worked under the flickering light of their campfire. As they piled into the car and started the engine, the whispers grew louder, as if the forest itself was protesting their departure. With hearts pounding and nerves frayed, they sped down the narrow forest road, the headlights casting fleeting shadows that seemed to dance with malice. The whispers pursued them, fading only as they finally broke free of Whispering Pines. The friends drove in silence, the haunted forest now behind them, but its dark presence etched indelibly in their memories. The ordeal left them shaken, forever altering their perception of the once beautiful, now sinister, Whispering Pines National Forest. As the friends sped down the winding forest road, the once familiar route now felt alien and threatening. The trees, towering and oppressive, seemed to close in, their shadows creating sinister shapes that danced in the headlights. The whispers persisted, growing louder and more urgent, as if the forest itself was chasing them away. Every twist and turn of the road felt like it led deeper into a labyrinth of darkness and dread. The atmosphere inside the car was thick with fear, each friend too scared to speak, their breaths shallow and quick. Finally, as they burst out of the forest's grasp, the whispers faded, leaving behind a haunting silence. They continued driving until they reached the safety of a nearby town. Finding a small, run-down motel, they quickly checked in, their faces pale and eyes haunted. The relief of being away from the forest was palpable, yet the terror of their experience clung to them. In the dim, flickering light of their motel room, they sat in silence, too scared to discuss what had transpired. The events of Whispering Pines loomed over them like a dark cloud, each friend lost in their own thoughts, replaying the horrifying night over and over. The trauma of their encounter in Whispering Pines took a heavy toll on the friends. They struggled to cope with the psychological scars left by the forest's malevolent presence. Nightmares plagued their sleep, and the bond that once held them together began to fray. Conversations grew strained, and the shared fear that once united them now drove them apart. Over time, the friends drifted away from each other, each retreating into their own lives, haunted by memories they could not escape. Years later, Sarah, unable to shake the hold the forest had on her, decided to return to Whispering Pines. Driven by a need for closure, or perhaps answers, she ventured back into the haunted woods alone. When she didn't return, her disappearance added another chilling chapter to the legend of Whispering Pines. Her friends, upon hearing the news, were left with a deep, gnawing guilt and an intensified fear of the forest. Whispering Pines National Forest remains a place shrouded in dark legend. Its towering trees and dense underbrush hide secrets known only to the whispers that haunt the night. Stories of vanished hikers, ghostly apparitions, and unsettling sounds continue to emerge, feeding the forest's malevolent reputation. The legend of Whispering Pines endures, its ominous presence a testament to the dark forces that seemingly guard its secrets, ensuring that the forest remains a place of fear and mystery, where the line between the natural and the supernatural is forever blurred. Emily and Jason, eager for an adventure, drove deep into the heart of Blackwood National Park, their destination a remote campsite near the infamous Forgotten Lake. The sun dipped low in the sky as they navigated the narrow, winding road that led them deeper into the dense forest. Towering trees cast long shadows that danced and flickered, creating a sense of disorientation and unease. The park, known for its natural beauty, also held a darker reputation. Forgotten Lake, shrouded in mystery and local legend, was said to be a place of eerie occurrences and unexplained disappearances. As the forest thickened around them, an undercurrent of apprehension began to gnaw at their initial excitement. The isolation of the area only heightened their sense of vulnerability, the vast expanse of wilderness closing in as they neared their destination. Arriving at the secluded campsite, Emily and Jason set to work, setting up their tent and preparing a campfire. The air was thick with the scent of pine and earth, a profound silence enveloping the clearing. As the fire crackled to life, casting a warm, flickering glow, the surrounding forest remained eerily quiet. The stillness was punctuated only by occasional distant sounds, unidentifiable rustles and whispers carried on the wind, setting their nerves on edge. The oppressive quiet seemed almost unnatural, as if the forest were holding its breath, waiting. As night fell, the duo tried to shake off their unease by sharing stories and roasting marshmallows by the fire. The familiar ritual provided some comfort, but the darkened forest loomed just beyond the circle of light, its secrets hidden in the shadows. Every snap of a twig and rustle of leaves seemed amplified in the stillness, each sound hinting at unseen watchers lurking in the darkness. The firelight cast long, distorted shadows, creating fleeting, ghostly images that vanished as quickly as they appeared. The atmosphere grew more unsettling as the night wore on, the oppressive quiet pressing in from all sides, making the hairs on the back of their necks stand on end. The surrounding forest, once a backdrop for their adventure, now felt like a living, breathing entity, its silent presence heavy with an unspoken threat. The occasional distant sound, a soft whisper of wind, the crack of a branch, seemed to carry a hidden menace, as if the forest itself were aware of their presence. As the fire began to die down, Emily and Jason couldn't shake the feeling that they were not alone. The stories of Forgotten Lake's eerie reputation played on their minds, each noise and shadow feeding their growing sense of dread. The vast, dark forest seemed to close in around them, the isolation and silence creating an atmosphere thick with tension and fear. As the fire dwindled to glowing embers, Emily and Jason retired to their tent, hoping for a restful night's sleep. However, the forest had other plans. As the night deepened, the oppressive silence was intermittently broken by strange, unsettling noises. The sharp snap of branches echoed through the trees, each crack sounding unnervingly close. Faint whispers seemed to drift on the breeze, indistinguishable yet eerily human. From the direction of the lake, the sound of splashes could be heard, as if something or someone was moving through the water. Each noise seemed to amplify the sense of isolation and vulnerability, the dark forest feeling increasingly hostile. Sometime in the dead of night, Emily awoke with a start. Her heart pounded as she strained to listen, convinced she had heard footsteps outside their tent. The sounds were slow and deliberate, circling their campsite with an unsettling precision. At first, she tried to convince herself it was just animals prowling through the forest, but the weight of each step and the rhythm felt too purposeful. She lay still, hardly daring to breathe, as the footsteps drew closer, then paused, as if whoever, or whatever it was standing just outside. The faint sound of breathing, barely audible over the pounding of her heart, sent chills down her spine. She reached over to shake Jason awake, her hand trembling. The two of them lay in silence, listening intently as the footsteps resumed, moving slowly around the perimeter of their tent. The whispers from earlier seemed to return, now accompanied by a faint rustling of fabric, as if someone were brushing against the tent walls. Emily's mind raced, filled with the dark legends of Forgotten Lake and the eerie occurrences that were said to plague the area. The sounds outside felt menacing and calculated, far beyond the realm of natural forest noises. Every creak and snap sent jolts of fear through her, the darkness pressing in on them from all sides. Sleep was impossible as they lay in terrified silence, the night stretching on, filled with the unnerving presence of whatever stalked the shadows outside their tent. With the light of dawn, Emily and Jason's courage returned, and they resolved to explore the area around Forgotten Lake. Despite the lingering unease from the night before, they were determined to uncover the secrets hidden within the dark depths of the forest. As they ventured deeper into the wilderness, they marveled at the beauty of their surroundings, the tranquil stillness of the lake, the sunlight filtering through the canopy, casting dappled shadows on the forest floor. Yet, beneath the surface beauty, a sense of strangeness pervaded the air, as if the very essence of the forest held secrets waiting to be revealed. Their explorations led them to an abandoned, dilapidated cabin nestled among the trees near the lake's shore. The structure, weathered and worn by time, seemed to sag under the weight of forgotten memories. Signs of former inhabitants littered the area, a rusted kettle, broken furniture, and tattered curtains swaying in the breeze. Inside the cabin, they discovered an old journal, its pages yellowed with age and filled with cryptic entries about the lake. Tales of strange occurrences, sightings of mysterious figures, and warnings of unseen dangers sent shivers down their spines, the words seeming to leap off the page and into their imagination. Despite the growing unease sparked by their discovery, Emily and Jason pressed on, determined to unravel the mysteries that shrouded Forgotten Lake. The journal's ominous warnings echoed in their minds, but their curiosity outweighed their fear as they embarked on the next leg of their adventure. As evening descended upon the forest, the atmosphere at their campsite grew more subdued. The sounds of the forest, once familiar and comforting, now took on a sinister tone, the rustling leaves and distant calls of wildlife sending shivers down their spines. Shadows danced at the edge of their vision, seeming to move of their own accord, as if the very forest itself were alive and watching. Despite their growing apprehension, Emily and Jason decided to visit the lake at dusk, drawn by an inexplicable pull towards its murky depths. As they approached the water's edge, they noticed unusual ripples disturbing the surface, as if something unseen moved beneath. Shapes twisted and shifted in the dim light, fleeting glimpses of something lurking just beneath the surface. The air grew heavy with anticipation, a sense of foreboding settling over them like a suffocating blanket. Dread clutched at their hearts as they realized they were not alone, and whatever dwelled within the depths of Forgotten Lake was watching their every move, waiting patiently for its next victim. As darkness descended upon the forest once more, Emily and Jason braced themselves for another night in the shadowy embrace of Forgotten Lake. Yet, as the hours passed, the disturbances that had plagued them on the previous night intensified. The whispers that had previously been faint and indistinct now grew louder, their words incomprehensible yet dripping with malice. The air crackled with an unnatural energy, and strange lights flickered through the trees, casting eerie shadows that danced and twisted in the darkness. Inside their tent, Emily and Jason huddled together, their nerves frayed by the escalating strangeness of their surroundings. Every creak of a branch, every rustle of leaves, sent shivers of fear coursing through their veins. The oppressive atmosphere seemed to press down on them, suffocating and relentless. They clung to each other, seeking solace in their shared terror, as the night stretched on, each minute feeling like an eternity. In the dead of night, Emily's breath caught in her throat as she caught sight of a shadowy figure lurking near the edge of the lake. Its form was indistinct, shrouded in darkness, yet there was an undeniable sense of malevolence emanating from it. Frozen with fear, she watched as the figure moved with an unnatural grace, its movements fluid and otherworldly. When she finally found her voice and pointed it out to Jason, the figure vanished into thin air, leaving behind only a sense of dread and the lingering feeling of being watched. Panic seized Emily as she tried to make sense of what she had seen. Had it been a trick of the light, a figment of her imagination, or something far more sinister? Jason's attempts to reassure her fell on deaf ears as the realization dawned on them both. The forest held secrets far darker than they could have ever imagined, and they were now unwittingly entangled in its malevolent embrace. With each passing moment, the line between reality and nightmare blurred, and the once innocent adventure they had embarked upon became a harrowing struggle for survival against forces beyond their comprehension. Driven by a mixture of fear and curiosity, Emily and Jason made the fateful decision to investigate the strange noises and flickering lights that haunted the forest. Armed with a single flashlight, they ventured into the darkness, their hearts pounding with apprehension. The eerie glow of the flashlight cut through the blackness, illuminating the gnarled trees and tangled underbrush that surrounded them. Their breath caught in their throats as the flashlight flickered ominously, threatening to betray them to the enveloping darkness. With each step, the oppressive silence of the forest seemed to press down on them, suffocating and relentless. Then, without warning, the flashlight sputtered and died, leaving them stranded in a sea of darkness. As the light faded, the whispers that had once been mere echoes in the night grew louder, their voices more coherent and urgent. They formed words that seemed to reverberate through the air, warning Emily and Jason to leave before it was too late. A sense of dread washed over them, their skin prickling with a primal fear as they realized they were not alone in the forest. Panic seized Emily and Jason as they struggled to find their way back to camp, their footsteps echoing like thunder in the oppressive silence of the forest. The trees loomed like specters in the darkness, their branches reaching out to ensnare them in their twisted embrace. With each passing moment, the forest seemed to close in around them, the familiar landmarks disappearing into the void of night. Their hearts pounded in their chests as they stumbled through the undergrowth, desperation lending strength to their limbs. The air was thick with a palpable sense of danger, and every rustle of leaves and snap of a twig sent shivers of terror down their spines. They knew they had to escape the clutches of the forest or risk becoming another victim of its dark secrets. Finally, with a surge of relief, they stumbled back into the clearing where their campsite lay, shrouded in shadows. Without a second thought, they hastily packed up their belongings, their hands trembling with fear as they worked in frantic silence. The decision to leave was made in an instant, fueled by the primal instinct for survival that pulsed through their veins. With their hearts hammering in their chests and adrenaline coursing through their veins, they fled into the night, leaving behind the sinister embrace of the forest and the whispered warnings that lingered in the air. With hearts still racing and the echoes of whispered warnings ringing in their ears, Emily and Jason hurriedly piled into their car, desperate to escape the sinister grasp of the forest. As they drove away, the whispers followed, growing louder and more insistent, seeming to emanate from the very trees themselves. The narrow road snaking through the dense forest felt like a claustrophobic tunnel, suffocating and threatening, the towering trees looming ominously overhead. As they pushed further away from the park, the whispers suddenly ceased, leaving them in an unsettling silence that was almost as unnerving as the ominous murmurs that had preceded it. The oppressive atmosphere of the forest slowly gave way to the relative safety of the outside world, but the memory of their ordeal lingered like a dark cloud, casting a shadow over their thoughts. Seeking refuge from the nightmarish encounter they had just endured, Emily and Jason found a motel in a nearby town, their minds still reeling from the events of the past few days. Despite their exhaustion, sleep eluded them, the memory of the whispers and the shadowy figure haunting their every thought. They lay awake in the dimly lit room, each creak of the floorboards and rustle of the curtains sending shivers down their spines. The motel, once a sanctuary from the terrors of the forest, now felt like a prison, its walls closing in around them with suffocating intensity. In the days and weeks that followed, Emily and Jason struggled to come to terms with their harrowing encounter in Blackwood National Park. The memory of the whispers and the shadowy figure lingered like a dark stain on their souls, tainting every aspect of their lives. They avoided the topic whenever possible, each retreating into their own private world of fear and uncertainty. Driven by a need for closure, Jason eventually made the fateful decision to return to Blackwood National Park alone, hoping to unravel the mysteries that had haunted him since that fateful night. But he was never heard from again, disappearing into the depths of the forest like so many others before him, his fate becoming yet another chilling addition to the legend of Forgotten Lake. As the years passed, the story of Forgotten Lake grew, with locals adding Jason's disappearance to the already eerie tales that surrounded the area. The lake and its surrounding forest remained a place of dark mystery, drawing only the most curious or foolhardy adventurers into its malevolent embrace, where the whispers still echoed and the shadows danced in the moonlight, waiting patiently for their next unsuspecting victim. For centuries, whispers of Darkwood Hollow echoed through the local folklore like the mournful wail of a lost soul. Nestled deep within the heart of the Appalachian Mountains, this secluded valley was said to be cursed, a place where the boundaries between the living and the dead blurred, and restless spirits roamed in eternal torment. Tales of mysterious disappearances, eerie apparitions, and inexplicable phenomena wove a tapestry of dread around the name, instilling fear in the hearts of those who dared to speak its name. Despite the warnings that echoed through the generations, 4 friends, Alex, Maya, Chris, and Emma, embarked on a journey to Darkwood Hollow, drawn by a potent mix of curiosity, bravado, and youthful defiance. The friends set out on a crisp autumn morning, their excitement palpable in the cool mountain air. The sun hung low on the horizon, casting a golden glow over the rugged landscape as they wound their way through the winding mountain roads. As they ventured deeper into the wilderness, the landscape grew increasingly foreboding, with gnarled trees and dense undergrowth casting long, twisted shadows across the path. The air hummed with an electric energy, charged with the anticipation of the unknown and the thrill of adventure. Despite the warning signs that whispered of danger ahead, the friends pressed on, their spirits buoyed by the promise of discovery and the allure of the forbidden. With each passing mile, the veil between the mundane world and the realm of legend grew thinner, until at last they stood on the threshold of Darkwood Hollow, ready to confront the mysteries that lay hidden within its shadowed embrace. After hours of driving through winding mountain roads and dense forest, they finally arrived at the entrance to Darkwood Hollow, a desolate clearing surrounded by towering trees that seemed to loom ominously overhead. A chill settled over them as they gazed upon the entrance to the valley, the air heavy with a palpable sense of foreboding. Despite the creeping unease that wormed its way into their hearts, the friends steeled themselves and pressed on, driven by a potent mix of curiosity and determination. Ignoring the whispers of doubt that lingered at the edges of their minds, they stepped forward into the hollow, ready to confront whatever dark secrets lay hidden within its depths. As night descended upon Darkwood Hollow, casting a shroud of darkness over the landscape, the friends pitched their tents in a small clearing near the edge of the forest. The air grew thick with anticipation as they worked together to assemble their makeshift campsite, the sound of rustling leaves and snapping twigs echoing through the stillness of the night. With each movement, the sense of isolation and vulnerability deepened, the towering trees surrounding them like silent sentinels in the darkness. Gathering around the crackling campfire, the friends sought solace in the warmth and light it provided, their faces illuminated by its flickering glow. Shadows danced along the trees, their movements casting eerie silhouettes that seemed to sway to an unseen rhythm. The distant howl of a lone wolf pierced the silence, its mournful cry sending shivers down their spines and serving as a haunting reminder of the untamed wilderness that surrounded them. Despite the growing unease that gnawed at their nerves, the friends huddled closer to the fire, seeking comfort in each other's presence as they prepared to confront the mysteries of Darkwood Hollow. As the night settled over Darkwood Hollow like a heavy cloak, the atmosphere grew thick with an eerie tension that seemed to seep into their bones. Strange occurrences began to unfold, sending ripples of fear through the hearts of the friends. Eerie whispers drifted through the trees, their words unintelligible, yet filled with a haunting melody that sent shivers down their spines. Unseen hands brushed against their skin, cold and clammy, leaving behind a trail of goosebumps in their wake. And in the darkness beyond the flickering firelight, faint figures lurked, their forms obscured by shadows, yet their eyes gleaming with an otherworldly light that pierced the darkness. As the night wore on, the haunting in Darkwood Hollow escalated to a fever pitch, the air thick with a suffocating sense of dread that seemed to press down upon them like a weight. Shadows twisted and writhed in the darkness, taking on sinister shapes that seemed to watch their every move with malevolent intent. The once familiar sounds of the forest now seemed twisted and distorted, echoing through the trees like the anguished cries of the damned. Huddled together for safety, the friends realized with mounting horror that they were not alone in Darkwood Hollow. Something malevolent lurked in the shadows, its presence tangible yet unseen, waiting patiently to claim their souls as its own. With each passing moment, the veil between the living and the dead grew thinner, and the friends knew that they were locked in a deadly struggle against forces far beyond their comprehension. In the heart of Darkwood Hollow, where the boundaries between the mortal realm and the world of the supernatural blurred, they would face their greatest challenge yet, a battle for survival against the darkness that lurked within. With the first light of dawn painting the sky in hues of pink and gold, the friends knew that they stood on the precipice of their final battle against the darkness that threatened to consume them. Armed with nothing but their courage and determination, they steeled themselves for the perilous journey ahead. With each step deeper into the heart of Darkwood Hollow, the air grew heavy with a sense of impending doom, the weight of their fate hanging heavy upon their shoulders. But they refused to succumb to fear, for they knew that their only chance of survival lay in confronting the source of the haunting head-on, no matter the cost. At last, they reached the heart of Darkwood Hollow, where the veil between the living and the dead was thinnest, and the malevolent spirits held sway. There, amidst the twisted shadows and the chilling silence, they found themselves face to face with the embodiment of their worst nightmares, a twisted, malevolent spirit that hungered for their souls. Its eyes burned with a sinister light, its form shifting and twisting with the darkness that surrounded it. With no other options left, the friends stood their ground, their hearts filled with a steely resolve as they prepared to face the ultimate evil that lurked within the depths of the valley. Each of them knew that this would be their final stand, their last chance to rid Darkwood Hollow of the darkness that had plagued it for centuries. With courage in their hearts and determination in their eyes, they braced themselves for the battle that would determine the fate of not only their own souls, but the souls of all who had ever dared to set foot in the cursed valley of Darkwood Hollow. In a final, desperate battle that echoed through the darkness of Darkwood Hollow, The friends fought tooth and nail against the encroaching shadows, their spirits unyielding in the face of overwhelming odds. With each strike, they weakened the spirit's hold on the valley, their bravery and determination shining like beacons in the night. Amidst the swirling maelstrom of chaos and despair, they refused to yield, their bonds of friendship and loyalty fueling their resolve. As the first rays of dawn pierced the veil of darkness, illuminating the valley with a golden light, the spirit's power began to wane. With one final, decisive blow, they banished the malevolent entity back into the depths of Darkwood Hollow, sealing it away once and for all. The air hummed with a palpable sense of victory as the echoes of their triumph reverberated through the valley, heralding the dawn of a new era. With the darkness lifted, Darkwood Hollow returned to its former state, a place of serene beauty and natural wonder, its secrets buried deep beneath the earth. The friends emerged from the valley forever changed, their bond forged in the fires of adversity. Though scars marred their bodies and memories haunted their dreams, they carried with them the knowledge that they had faced the ultimate test of courage and emerged victorious. As they looked back upon the valley one last time, bathed in the soft light of dawn, they knew that they had left their mark upon Darkwood Hollow, a testament to their bravery, their resilience, and their unwavering friendship. And though the haunting of Darkwood Hollow would forever linger in their hearts, they walked away knowing that they had conquered their fears and emerged stronger for it, their spirits forever bound by the trials they had faced and the triumphs they had achieved. Deep within the heart of the untamed wilderness stands Raven's Peak, a solitary sentinel shrouded in mystery and whispered tales of dread. For generations, this remote mountain has loomed large in the collective imagination, its name synonymous with fear and the unknown. Legends abound of a vengeful spirit that prowls its rugged slopes, its story passed down through the ages in hushed tones and cautionary whispers. From the depths of tragedy arises this spectral entity, fueled by an unyielding thirst for retribution against those who dare to trespass upon its domain. These tales, woven into the fabric of local lore, cast Raven's Peak in an otherworldly light, drawing in the curious and the courageous alike, each seeking to unravel the secrets hidden within its mist-shrouded heights. Enter Alex, a solitary wanderer with an insatiable thirst for adventure and a spirit unbound by the constraints of civilization. Guided by the irresistible allure of the unknown and driven by a burning desire to conquer his deepest fears, he sets his sights on Raven's Peak. Armed with little more than a backpack filled with essentials and a heart overflowing with determination, he embarks on a solitary expedition into the heart of the wilderness, where reality blurs with myth and the echoes of the past linger like phantoms in the mist. As Alex's journey unfolds, the weight of anticipation hangs heavy in the air, mingling with the scent of pine and damp earth. Each footfall is a testament to his resolve, a defiant step forward against the whispers of doubt that threaten to ensnare him. With every passing mile, Raven's Peak looms larger on the horizon, its towering silhouette a silent sentinel guarding the secrets that lie hidden within its craggy embrace. But Alex presses on undeterred, his gaze fixed unwaveringly on the distant summit as he ventures deeper into the uncharted territory, prepared to confront whatever mysteries await him amidst the solitude of Raven's Peak. As Alex's arduous journey nears its climax, he finds himself standing at the base of Raven's Peak, a towering behemoth that seems to pierce the very heavens above. The landscape that unfolds before him is nothing short of awe-inspiring, yet it carries with it an air of foreboding that sends shivers down his spine. Jagged cliffs rise like ancient sentinels, casting long, ominous shadows across the rugged terrain below. The silence that hangs heavy in the air is broken only by the occasional gust of wind that whispers through the pines, carrying with it the faint echoes of something indefinable, a sense of isolation that seems to seep into Alex's bones, leaving him feeling small and vulnerable amidst the vast expanse of wilderness that stretches out before him. With the sun sinking low on the horizon, painting the sky in shades of fiery orange and deep purple, Alex sets about the task of establishing his camp at the foot of Raven's Peak. The air grows thick with a palpable tension, as if the very atmosphere itself is holding its breath in anticipation of what the night may bring. The rustling leaves and haunting cries of unseen creatures serve as his only companions in this desolate landscape, their eerie chorus a constant reminder of the solitude that surrounds him. Despite his best efforts to shake off the growing sense of unease that grips him, Alex can't help but feel a creeping sense of dread as darkness descends upon the mountain, cloaking everything in an oppressive veil of shadow. As night falls and the world is plunged into darkness, Alex's campsite is engulfed in an eerie stillness that seems to press down upon him like a weight. Strange occurrences begin to plague him with increasing frequency, each one more unsettling than the last. Inexplicable noises echo through the night, their origins shrouded in mystery and sending shivers down his spine. Shadows dance and twist in the flickering firelight, taking on sinister shapes that seem to move of their own accord, as if possessed by some unseen force. A sense of dread hangs heavy in the air, thick and suffocating, as Alex finds himself caught in the grip of a terror unlike anything he has ever known. And as the haunting intensifies, he can't shake the feeling that he is being watched, that something malevolent lurks just beyond the edge of his perception, waiting patiently for the perfect moment to reveal itself. With a heart heavy with trepidation, yet resolve burning bright within, Alex presses on deeper into the heart of Raven's Peak, determined to unravel the mysteries that lie hidden within its shadowy depths. Each step forward is a testament to his bravery, a defiance against the unknown terrors that lurk around every corner. The air grows thick with anticipation as he delves further into the mountain, confronting his deepest fears and the malevolent forces that lurk within. Though the path ahead is fraught with peril and uncertainty, Alex's determination remains unshakable, his spirit unyielding in the face of the darkness that threatens to engulf him. In a heart-stopping climax that echoes through the very soul of Raven's Peak, Alex finds himself locked in a harrowing showdown with the vengeful spirit that haunts its rugged slopes. With every fiber of his being, he draws upon his inner strength and resilience, refusing to succumb to the overwhelming darkness that threatens to consume him. Each blow struck is a testament to his courage, a defiance against the malevolent forces that seek to snuff out his light. As the battle rages on, Alex finds himself pushed to the brink of his limits, his spirit tested in ways he never thought possible. Yet through sheer determination and unwavering resolve, he emerges victorious, his spirit forever changed by the solitary journey into the heart of Raven's Peak. With the darkness vanquished and the mountain reclaimed from the grip of the malevolent spirit, Alex stands triumphant amidst the rugged landscape of Raven's Peak. Though the journey has been long and fraught with peril, he emerges from the crucible of adversity stronger and more resilient than ever before. Through courage and perseverance, he has not only conquered the challenges that lay before him, but has also found redemption in the face of his deepest fears. As he gazes out upon the majesty of the mountain, a sense of peace washes over him, knowing that he has faced the unknown and emerged victorious, his spirit forever transformed by the solitary journey into the heart of Raven's Peak. Alone amidst the wilderness, Alex finds himself enveloped in a profound silence that seems to stretch on for eternity. With the trials of his journey behind him, he takes a moment to reflect on the mysteries of Raven's Peak and the profound impact it has had on his soul. Each step of his solitary trek echoes through the recesses of his mind, a reminder of the challenges he has overcome and the lessons he has learned along the way. As he ponders the enigmatic nature of the mountain and the secrets it guards, a sense of introspection washes over him, filling him with a newfound understanding of himself and the world around him. In this moment of quiet contemplation, Alex delves deep into the depths of his own psyche, seeking answers to the questions that have plagued him since the beginning of his journey. Amidst the solitude of Raven's Peak, Alex finds solace in the breathtaking beauty of the mountain landscape that surrounds him. The rugged peaks and sweeping vistas serve as a reminder of the untamed power of nature, their majesty inspiring awe and reverence in equal measure. As he gazes out upon the vast expanse of wilderness that stretches out before him, a sense of peace washes over him, the cares of the world falling away like leaves on the wind. In this moment of tranquility, Alex finds himself at one with the natural world, his spirit uplifted by the timeless beauty of Raven's Peak. Here, amidst the pristine wilderness, he finds sanctuary from the chaos of the world below, a fleeting moment of serenity amidst the storm. As night falls once more, and darkness descends upon the mountain, Alex finds himself grappling with his inner demons once again. The fears and doubts that have plagued him throughout his journey rear their ugly heads, threatening to undo all that he has accomplished. In the quiet stillness of the night, he confronts these inner demons head-on, determined to overcome them once and for all. With each passing moment, the struggle within him intensifies, testing the limits of his resolve and pushing him to the brink of despair. Yet even in the darkest of hours, Alex refuses to surrender to the darkness that threatens to consume him, drawing upon the strength of his spirit to face his fears and emerge victorious once more. As he battles with the shadows that lurk within, Alex comes to realize that true strength lies not in the absence of fear, but in the courage to confront it head-on. With each step he takes, Alex draws upon the deep wells of resilience and determination that lie within him, refusing to be cowed by the daunting challenges that lie ahead. The path before him is fraught with peril and uncertainty, yet he presses on undeterred, his spirit unyielding in the face of adversity. Each obstacle he encounters serves only to strengthen his resolve, fueling his determination to overcome whatever trials may come his way. With unwavering determination as his guide, Alex forges ahead into the unknown, ready to face whatever challenges Raven's Peak may have in store. Delving deeper into the heart of Raven's Peak, Alex finds himself on the trail of clues that may unlock the secrets of its enigmatic past. With each discovery, he pieces together the fragments of a long-forgotten legend, weaving together threads of history and myth to reveal the truth hidden within the mountain's shadowy depths. The journey is perilous, fraught with danger at every turn, yet Alex is undeterred, driven by an insatiable curiosity to uncover the mysteries that lie hidden beneath the surface. As he unravels the tangled web of secrets that surround Raven's Peak, he comes to realize that the answers he seeks may be closer than he ever imagined. Confronted by the vengeful spirit that haunts Raven's Peak, Alex finds himself facing his greatest challenge yet. The air crackles with tension as he stands toe-to-toe with the embodiment of rage and fury, knowing that his fate hangs in the balance. With every fiber of his being, he summons all his courage and strength, prepared to stand against the spirit's wrath and defend himself against its relentless onslaught. Though fear threatens to consume him, Alex refuses to back down, his spirit unyielding in the face of danger. In a battle that will test the very limits of his endurance, he must find the courage to confront the darkness that threatens to consume him, knowing that only by facing his fears head-on can he hope to emerge victorious. In a climactic battle of wills that echoes through the very soul of Raven's Peak, Alex faces off against the vengeful spirit with everything he has. The air crackles with energy as the two forces collide, locked in a fierce struggle for supremacy. With each passing moment, the intensity of the battle reaches a fever pitch, the very fabric of reality trembling under the weight of their conflict. Yet, despite the overwhelming odds stacked against him, Alex refuses to yield, drawing upon the strength of his spirit and the lessons he has learned along his journey. In the end, it is his unwavering determination and resilience that carry him to victory, his spirit emerging from the crucible of adversity stronger and more resilient than ever before. As the echoes of battle fade into the ether, Alex stands triumphant amidst the rugged landscape of Raven's Peak, his spirit forever changed by the trials he has faced and the challenges he has overcome. With the first light of dawn painting the sky in shades of golden orange, Alex begins his descent from the towering heights of Raven's Peak, forever changed by his solitary sojourn into the wild. Each step brings him closer to the familiar comforts of civilization, yet he carries with him the memory of Raven's Peak, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit in the face of adversity. As he emerges from the wilderness and rejoins the hustle and bustle of everyday life, Alex finds himself forever transformed by the experiences he has undergone and the lessons he has learned along the way. Though his journey may have come to an end, the memory of Raven's Peak will linger with him always, a reminder of the indomitable strength that lies within the human heart and the enduring power of the human spirit to overcome even the greatest of challenges. In Eldridge Hollow, a quaint town skirted by an ancient, sprawling forest, whispered legends lived in the very air, casting long shadows over the cobblestone streets and ivy-covered cottages. Among these whispered tales, the story of the unseen eyes of night was perhaps the most bone-chilling, a narrative that cautioned against venturing too deep into the forest as night fell. This legend, steeped in mystery and fear, captured the imagination of Evelyn, a historian with a voracious appetite for the unknown and the unexplained. Her fascination with the supernatural lore of Eldridge Hollow led her to assemble a group of like-minded individuals. Marcus, her best friend, whose skepticism often balanced her curiosity, Jenna, a local who had grown up on tales of the forest and bore a fearless heart, and Theo and Lara, a pair of intrepid paranormal investigators eager to document the inexplicable. Their journey into the heart of the forest was marked by a blend of excitement and apprehension. The dense canopy above filtered the sunlight into mere slivers, casting the forest floor into perpetual twilight. Initially, the group was buoyed by the thrill of adventure, but as night approached and the shadows grew longer, an unsettling feeling of being observed from unseen vantages took root. The first night was a symphony of unfamiliar sounds and fleeting shadows that seemed to skitter at the edge of their campfire's light. Despite the unease, the group's resolve only strengthened, pushing them deeper into the woods in pursuit of the truth. It was on the third day that they stumbled upon the remnants of an old settlement, its structures nearly swallowed whole by the encroaching wilderness. The air here was thick, charged with an invisible energy that seemed to pulse with the heartbeat of the earth itself. Eager to capture evidence of supernatural activity, they set up their cameras and audio recorders. Their patience was soon rewarded with eerie shadows that moved against the logic of light and soft whispers that teased the edges of their recordings. However, it was Theo's encounter with the inexplicable glowing eyes that marked a stark turning point in their expedition. These eyes, which seemed to manifest from the void itself, watched him from the darkness before vanishing, leaving behind a palpable dread that enveloped the group. Their initial enthusiasm transformed into a visceral fear as the forest seemed to come alive around them, paths twisting unnaturally, leading them in circles. When Lara vanished without a trace, leaving behind only her water bucket by a stream, panic set in. The group's cohesion began to crumble under the weight of fear and uncertainty. It was amidst this chaos that Evelyn pieced together a horrifying realization. They were being manipulated, drawn deeper into the forest by forces beyond their understanding. This realization crystallized when they found themselves in a clearing unlike any other, centered around a stone altar surrounded by trees that twisted away as if in fear. A voice, ancient and imperious, filled their minds, unveiling the dark heart of the forest. This voice spoke of a centuries-old pact between the forest and the town, a pact that demanded regular tributes in exchange for prosperity. Lara, it claimed, was the latest in a long line of such tributes, a necessary sacrifice to maintain the balance. The group was shattered by this revelation. Marcus, consumed by fear, fled into the night, his fate sealed by the forest. Jenna, bound by a deep sense of duty to her town and its dark legacy, offered herself to the forest, hoping to secure safe passage for her friends. Only Evelyn and Theo, driven by a mix of desperation and determination, managed to break free from the forest's grasp as the first light of dawn pierced the canopy. They emerged from the forest changed, carrying with them not only the burden of their experiences, but also the knowledge of the dark pact that bound Eldridge Hollow to the forest. Their return to civilization was met with disbelief and skepticism, their story dismissed as the result of isolation and stress-induced hallucinations. Yet the truth of their ordeal remained, etched in their memories, and the haunting whispers that sometimes reached them on the wind, a grim reminder of the unseen eyes that watch from the shadows, ever waiting for the next tribute to breach the boundary between the known and the unknown. Our story unfolds deeper into the annals of the forgotten, where the silent woods stretch beyond the realms of ordinary maps, holding within its embrace tales that chill the bones of even the most hardened souls. The group, led by the adventurous spirit of James and the cautious intellect of Emily, alongside their friends Sarah, Alex, and Chris, ventured into these woods with hearts full of laughter and minds blissfully unaware of the darkness that lay ahead. As the whispers in the woods grew more insistent, a sense of unease began to permeate the group. The laughter that once filled their days was replaced by a silence as thick as the fog that rolled in each morning, shrouding the trees in a ghostly veil. It was in this eerie silence that they found themselves listening more intently to the forest, half in fear, half in fascination, as the whispers seemed to tell tales of ancient times, of sorrow and of warnings unheeded. The disappearance of Sarah marked a turning point from which there was no return. The group's frantic search led them deeper into the woods, each step taking them further from the world they knew and deeper into a realm where the fabric between realities seemed to wear thin. They stumbled upon clearings that should not exist, where the moon shone too brightly on ancient stones carved with symbols that twisted the mind if stared at for too long. In their desperation, they began to see things, visions of a past soaked in blood and darkness, of rituals meant to appease something that dwelled within the woods, something ancient and hungry. The figure of Sarah, or whatever masqueraded as her, seemed to flicker between these visions and reality, her whispers now clear, urging them to leave, to escape the fate that had claimed her. But the woods would not let them go. Paths twisted and turned in on themselves, leading them in endless circles. Time seemed to stretch and bend, the sun hanging motionless in the sky, as if the day itself was afraid to end. Hunger and fatigue began to take their toll, warping their senses until they could no longer trust what they saw or heard. It was then, in their darkest hour, that they found the heart of the woods, a grove untouched by time, where the trees circled a black pool that mirrored the night sky, regardless of the time of day. The whispers were loudest here, a cacophony of voices that seemed to echo from the very depths of the earth. Driven by a mix of fear, desperation, and an insatiable need for answers, they approached the pool. The water, black as pitch, rippled as if something just beneath the surface stirred. It was Alex who first reached out, compelled by a force beyond understanding, his fingers barely brushing the surface before the water erupted. What followed was a blur, a tempest of wind and voices, the ground shaking beneath their feet as if the very woods were alive, angry and thrashing. They saw shapes in the water, dark and twisted, visions of a time when the woods were worshipped and feared, fed by sacrifices to keep whatever dwelled within at bay. When the chaos subsided, the pool was still once more, but of Alex there was no sign. The remaining friends, now reduced to survivors, knew then that their fates were sealed. The woods had claimed another, and they were far from done. In the days that followed, their sanity frayed, torn by the endless whispering and the haunting visions that danced just beyond the corner of their eyes. Chris vanished next, taken by shadows during a night too dark to see. Emily and James, the last remaining, clung to each other, driven by the primal need to survive, to somehow make it out and tell the tale. Their escape, when it came, was as unexpected as it was miraculous. Stumbling upon an old path, so overgrown as to be almost invisible, they followed it with the last ounces of their strength, each step a prayer, each breath a plea. When they finally emerged from the silent woods, it was into a world that seemed too bright, too loud. They were found by a search party, delirious and half-mad with fear, their stories dismissed as the product of exposure and starvation. But the truth of the silent woods remains, a dark heart beating within the Northwoods, whispering its secrets on the wind, waiting for the next soul brave or foolish enough to venture into its embrace. The woods remain, silent and waiting, its appetite undiminished, its shadows deep and hungry for more.